All right, good. How'd you guys do?
Good.
Good. Any surprises?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I think you put down the first people that pop into your head, and then I don't know, for me, I'm like, I know more people than this, and then when you break it down into sections, and family, and you get deeper and deeper, and you're like, oh, how could I forget about that guy? He owns a house, he's in a I'm like, he's definitely, but you're right, when with the nurturing, it's the same way for you, if I haven't spoke to somebody, I'm like, oh, I totally forget that I know them for like a few months until I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, we're friends, we just haven't spoken with them.
Yeah, so the categories help.
Yes.
Let's bring some people into mind. Anybody else have any ahas on the list? Yeah?
It's amazing how many, like when you really start thinking about new deals, like people I've dealt with in the past that maybe I hadn't thought about before, but like mortgage brokers in the past that I know actually own here that I forgot about until 2 seconds ago. So, living on them, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, just spending 10 minutes, I mean, it's well worth it. Some possible clients that I haven't been considered.
Yeah, get those synapses cooking again. Hunter, you stuck your hand up for a second there.
Yeah, I remember last year my grandma was here and she was saying she had some friends that owned in Waimea or PA and people in her church in Florida, Colorado have, so I was like, she could be the connect.
She could be a good connection. Yeah, just remember know that you're in real estate.
I was about to call her. She knows I got a license, but she didn't know I started it yet.
Okay, so it sounds like you can start with her and kind of create a little
Yeah.
funnel going out. And one of the things that I think of are previous clients from prior businesses.
Yeah.
So you were in some real estate business in Southern California. I worked with pharmacists, physicians, and physicists. So would those be good people to contact about real estate on Maui? Right? They can probably afford it if they're off island. So kind of look back at your professional past. So not just the connections that you had, the people that you worked with, but your clients or coworkers from those for the past professional relationships. All right. So we're going to move on to time blocking. And so I'd like you to turn to page 23. And this sort of breaks your lead gen time down into 3 categories, right? So your time blocking is that you just start and you start making phone calls. First step is prepare. So what are the steps in prepare? Marcus?
Prep your call list, say your affirmations, focus on your big why, and practice your scripts.
Okay, practice your scripts. I would suggest right before the call. I would suggest you stand up to practice your script. If you have a mirror, I would suggest you look in the mirror. And use your body language in the mirror. Smile when you're making that phone call, right? Because when the people on the other side sense your tone, okay? Next step. Somebody's looking at the book. Cherish, you've hardly talked at all. Come on, what are the next steps?
Take action, prospect, and update leaders.
Okay, so you're making the call. If you can make the call in a mirror or stand up and walk while you're making the call. When you guys made your calls, what did you do?
Start a line.
Yeah, you guys all went outside, walked around, right? Because you got more energy there. It makes more of an impact. And then update your database. So what I like to do, but I don't always do because sometimes I'm driving, but if I can sit at my desk, get up, walk around while I'm making the phone call, come back and sit down and update my notes right now. So what did I just talk to Marcus about? What did I just talk to Hunter about? Because I remember it now. And I'm of a certain age where some things don't stick with me that long, okay? Been at that age since I was 35. But you want to do that on the spot because most of us, if we write it down and say I'm going to get to it later, it doesn't happen. And when somebody calls you and says, oh, Christine, you've been sending me these listings these all these years, and it's like, I don't remember who this person is. So it'd be good to have all your notes there. Step number 3. Shaylin, we haven't heard from you. Step number 3.
Sure, maintain, track results, schedule commitments, and write thank you notes.
Okay. So what kind of results are you tracking?
How many calls you made, how many conversations you had, referrals and appointments.
Okay, and what about, okay, so you schedule the appointments. What if you didn't get an appointment? I want you to schedule the next steps. So go into command and schedule the next time you're gonna reach out to that person, or send that person a personal note, or follow up with that person anyway. So when you finish that call, you should be able to make a note. These are the things we talked about. This is the next time we're gonna contact the person. These are the things we're gonna talk about when I do connect with the person. All right, so when that pops up on your to-do list for the day, you're set to go. You got everything lined out. And now, we're gonna check a video here. I can't see that. On cold calling.
Cool. So I'll say where we're from, and then you give production levels. Is that all right? Hi, my name is Dylan Bravache. I'm Sean Bravache. We're from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We're the Real Estate Brothers.
2014, we wrote 72 transactions for $47 million.
Sean and I are very lucky because we're actually fairly entrepreneurial in sales. So we were able to just sort of survive by luck and by just sort of being likable and nice.
We had a decent business that wasn't growing.
We did a lot of door knocking originally, but what we found was with bad weather, plus you have to drive to door knock, it was just too much of a wild card.
If we were to grow the business, we needed to add people to our database, and if we were going to do that, we needed a systematic way that we knew we could achieve results that were predictable. So we just kind of started cold calling.
About 3 hours a day, and we found that the results were phenomenal.
Come take a look where we've been this whole time.
You can literally do it from your
It's just more time effective.
Yeah.
If you're cheap like we are, you don't want to spend a ton of money on the web or in print. Telephone lines, you pay a monthly bill and you can call all you want. Why don't you come in here and show you the cold call here? We got a map where we broke in the entire city into zones. We like to target areas where we have buyers.
It's been scrubbed to the do not call list, and it still represents over 250,000 phone numbers. All of our desks have 3 monitors. We have Mojo in the middle. We have our scripts on the right, and then on the left,
We do some research on the house they're calling for, stuff like that. Cold calling is like adding jet fuel to your car or something. Like it pumps your business up.
we went from making
What was our first year? Like 70K, and then this year together we did $1.1 million. So this is Sean calling from the Real Estate Brothers. You know what? I'm so sorry about you today, but I just noticed that you have to treat cold calling as though it's an appointment. If you don't prioritize it, things will always find their way in and block you from being able to do it. It's the most important thing you can do for your business.
absolutely most important, and you have to quantify it as well. The goal 100 contacts a week is a really, really cool way
To set a bar.
to set a bar and get started and stick to it. Whatever your decision is.
You can't think today was a bad cold calling day because today doesn't matter. What matters is what you accomplish in a year. And if you just keep adding people to your database and systematically follow up with them and take care of the people who you work for, you'll do great.
You're not always going to have great success every day, but it's by doing it every day that you have great success.
We're looking at name card for the next 2 weeks, getting free evaluations. You know what I'd love to do?
Well, I'll say too that one thing that we were afraid of, and I think everyone is just the rejection side of things. People being mean to you on the phone and rude. We have this saying with our team that you're either part of our future or part of our past, and either way it's fine. The people who are rude to us are obviously not going to be part of our future.
Have a chuckle about it. Like honestly, when someone cusses at me or something, I just laugh because it's funny.
It would make sense for something you get.
The more time you spend not on the phone, you're losing money because that 3 hours of my day is my 20% where I make my money.
Don't get ready to start thinking about how you're going to eventually do something. Just do it. Like,
Just do it.
Done.
Stop watching this video, get off your butt and go start dialing numbers and talking to people. Just get on the phone.
Yeah, and if you hate money, don't do it.
Nice. All right. Ahas.
Back in the Pleistocene era, we used to have things called phone books, okay? They don't have them anymore. Matter of fact, very few people have landlines anymore. They all live on their cell phone.
Right.
Very few people have landlines anymore. And you can't look up people's names, like I can't go and look up Maui Kamaoli owners list and their cell phones. Can't get them. Cold calling who?
Okay, who can you cold call?
I mean, let's say that I wanna call the owners at Maui Kamaoli.
Uh-huh. So there are
I'd
services.
love I'd love to do that, or pick a complex and call all the owners at the complex saying, I've got some great information about your complex and I'd love to send it to you. It's really interesting and you can find out more about your property and can I send it to you? I need your email address, but I need their phone number to call them to tell them that, and I can't get either one. I can't get their cell phone number or their email address.
Connor, can you get those?
Absolutely.
How?
How do you do that?
I mean, I'm not gonna expose my team secrets, but you can subscribe to dialers and services, and you can pay for all those phone numbers for all those complexes, and you can get all of the owners' names, emails, addresses, phone numbers.
No kidding.
Scrubbed.
I've been doing this a long time and I've never heard that.
Yep. It's the way to
Yes.
go.
There are
It's
different
expensive.
services. We use a product called Prospect Now, and it doesn't include all the phone numbers. It includes a lot of phone numbers, it includes a lot of email addresses. The list is scrubbed, it's about $100 a month. So that's one of the ways. You can go into Spokio, which is about $7 a month. Then it's one by one by one by one. But yeah, those numbers are out there, they're available, and at least on the list that we use, they're scrubbed for do not call already.
When you said $100, you're talking about $100, it's scrubbed. $100 for a list of people? Is that what
Well,
you're
I
talking
get to
about?
pick the list. So if I want Camp Sands,
Yeah,
I put in
440
that-
units.
put in that address, it'll pull up 440 records.
Yep.
Some of them will have the phone number, some of them won't, some of them have cell numbers, some of them have email addresses. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can do that now. But the ones where the pukas are, where they don't have their cell phone numbers, how do you find out their cell phone number?
Maybe you do other things, right? You've got other ways to reach out to people. So, all right, so we're just doing the ones that we do have. So let's not focus on what we can't do, let's focus on what we can do, right? All right, so there are those. Escrow companies will provide some of this stuff for you. So talk to your favorite escrow officer, Shannon Cortez, Jerry Shannon. They can generate lists for you. What else can you do to cold call?
Sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence.
Yep.
Didn't we just talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could call your grandma's friends, right? You got a phone number for that person, grandma? Right? You have phone numbers. So, this is one of the things that you can do. Costs pretty much nothing. And I mentioned Ben Kenny earlier when we were talking. Ben Kenny is a big rainmaker, and he's an entrepreneur and a product developer up in the Seattle area. And he does webinars from time to time. And one of the ones that he did that I thought was really good is your leads don't suck, your follow-up does. And in that, one of the things that really struck me was, he said, we'll bring in new potential team members. We will give them 100 leads, and we have them call those folks to see if they can set appointments. The thing they don't know is those are just leads out of the telephone book. There are appointments. He said they convert about 3 to 4% on average. So they're not even leads, they're just calling people on the phone. So there's a certain amount that can get done that way. So, and the thing is, if you're just doing it from a list that's prepared that's free, then your calls are free, right? What else did they talk about in that video? First of all, time block. So on your calendar, block out time, and it's like setting an appointment. So I'm in this class today from 9 to 12, right? So I'm not taking phone calls, I'm not doing anything else, I'm here with you. If I'm doing lead generation, that's blocked. I'm not doing anything else during that time. That's an appointment. Okay? And that's where money is. In reaching out to those people. And there are multiple ways to do it. We use multiple ways. We're going to talk about some of those. The other thing is just do it. Quit being nervous about it. Just do it. Okay? You get nods back there. And after you do it, you want to schedule follow-up on your calendar. Right? Some other things to call about, and it's maybe not necessarily a cold call, because it's you've got a contact already. You may have partial information. So one of the best contacts most successful contacts that our group has is when we've got information, it's a lead that came in, we may have an email address, but we don't have all of their information. And that's a call to reach out and say, hey Matthew, I'd like to send things out in the mail occasionally, the old-fashioned way, but I don't have an address for you. Would you mind if I ask for your mailing address? That's almost 100%. People will respond to that. Then you can ask, do you have any real estate plans this year? Marcus?
Most of the notes I wrote yesterday, just from talking to people, texting them and stuff and saying, hey, I don't have your mailing address, I want to send you something. And got their mailing address and the email and stuff like that. And sending the notes out today.
And how'd that make them feel?
They liked it.
They liked it, right? So go through your database, and if you don't have the full contact information, call, email, do whatever you need to do, request the rest of their information, and usually people go along with that. And one of the things the guy said is, you're either part of our business or you're not part of our business. Either way is okay. So skip through your list. Right, so we got another video here. Right, this one is finding more leads.
Lead generation is your #1 job. You have started by calling your vets, your sphere of influence. You have even reached out via social media. But what do you do when you run out of contacts? Where can you find more leads? There are many places you can find additional prospecting opportunities. Think about your children's sporting events or activities. And don't forget about your own organizations and clubs. Your children's school or PTA would be an excellent source for contacts, as well as your place of worship. Even your mechanic, they rely on referrals for their business just like you do. Using these and other sources for prospecting opportunities will lead to more contacts and referrals that will grow your business. More contacts and referrals will lead to more appointments, listings, and closings. This will help you meet and exceed your goals.
Okay, any ahas from that one?
Always be networking.
Always be networking. Okay. Anything else?
I don't belong to a church, but I could just go to one to prospect.
You could,
My first
check, see which religion you like, kind of go from one to the next, I guess.
Big
Okay, all right.
Just
Just a suggestion. Where else can you get prospecting opportunities? Always be networking. Where can you network?
Anywhere there's people.
Anywhere there's people. Wow. That's good.
Love the story about the happy hour guy.
The happy hour guy. Tell us
Right.
a story about the happy hour guy.
It was in the book, The Ninja Selling. He literally hangs out at a certain bar every single day or a certain period of time. He just talks about real estate to where like the bartenders say, hey, I hear you talking about real estate. There's going to be this guy here. He shows up every Friday and talks story about real estate. People would show up there with him. And then he'd write the whole thing off.
right off all of his cocktails.
That's
So,
it.
I heard of a fellow that would go to Starbucks, go up and put $50 on a card and say, the next up to $50, all the people that come in, tell him it's on me. And he's got, sitting at a table, he's just got real estate information, a little sign there. People come over and talk to him, right? So you can find some creative ways to get attention. And some people are experts at having lunch, right? So.
I found that, even before I was in the business, and I don't know, like, every time I'd play golf by myself with a random group,
There you go.
I'd almost always meet people interested in real, like 95% of the time. Like, I still have contacts, and I wasn't even in real estate, people.
That you
who
play
real
golf
estate.
with?
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
I mean, going to random courses, just playing as a single, going meeting people almost every time. I mean, it's interesting.
So how many people like to play golf? How many people in here like to play golf? Few, right? How many people like to go to the beach?
That's true.
Go to the beach. You ever meet anybody at the beach?
Yeah.
Talk about real estate? What else do you do? I mean, you go out on whale watches? I remember being out on a whale watch and a guy asked, well, what do you do? A realtor. He started asking me about investment properties on Maui. So I was like a week into the business, like, yeah, I had the avid dabbas, but we had a conversation. All right. Let's go over to prospecting sources. So there's a list of sources here. Cherish, page 26. What are the sources you see on page 26?
Door knocking, geographical farming, for sale by owners, expired or withdrawn listing, open houses, agent referrals, and social media.
Okay. So which one of those sounds good to you?
Social media.
Social media, you like social media. What else? What do you like?
I would probably like open houses.
Oh,
No?
that's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best one. What else? What do you guys like?
Geographical farming. I worked in the same neighborhood for 14 years, so I know lots of people in one place, so I walk around there and try and make friends and make business.
Okay, you can do door knocking, right? So I want to take a dive into a couple of these, but I want to touch on all of them. So door knocking, how could you go about door knocking? Anybody in here on door knocking?
When I had an open house, I handed out flyers in the neighborhood, and invited them to come to the open house.
So did you knock on the doors?
Yep.
Yeah, what'd you say?
There's an open house over there, a block away, 2 bedrooms, also an Ohana with 2 bedrooms, and I have cookies, you should come over and take a look.
I have cookies, that's very good. That's very good. Food works,
Yeah.
all right? There's a group in Southern California that what they did was every month they would go to this one large neighborhood, had a few hundred homes, and they would go door to door and drop off the stats, right? So these are the closings in the neighborhood for the last month. There was a lot of sales going on at the time. Everything was branded, and a lot of people would call them for more information. So if you're gonna go door knocking, take something of value.
I did that yesterday.
You did?
My son plays high school baseball, so I bought all the sweetbread from the fundraiser.
Yeah?
Bought all the loaves of sweetbread, and I walked the neighborhood and gave them to all my neighbors, just to like, hey, this is some extra, and I also slid in there with the real estate thing, 'cause they see me home now, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I used to always be at work, and so that conversation was pretty easy. I got 3 people that were pretty interested in having long conversations with, and a lot of people have real estate stories,
They have real
right,
estate
past.
stories, right?
And if they also wanna know more because it's been years, cause they get scared out of the, they're scared away kind of.
Yeah.
So it's cool conversations over
So
sweet bread.
you're a valuable resource for them, you
Yeah.
brought them something of value. And wherever you live, you should own your neighborhood, right? So if you live in a condo, you should own that condo complex. Live in a neighborhood, you should own that neighborhood. So you know a lot of those people already, so it's not really a cold call, right? John?
You just sold one in Pullman, Nui. Guess how I know? My mom told me she got your mailer. She lives at 210.
Is she the one that called me?
Maybe.
Maybe so. That's right, that's right.
Uh-huh.
So, door knocking. Next one on here is for sale by owners. For sale by owners, it's not the hottest thing right now. We don't see a lot of for sale by owners, and it's a hot market, so they're not going to be as anxious. But if you wanted to go approach a for sale by owner, what would you do? How would you do it?
Reach out to them first directly, right?
Yeah, Bob, any ideas? Have you ever done it?
Yeah. I'm not trying to get your listing.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you would be interested if I brought a buyer to you.
Okay. And how often did that work?
It worked sometimes, but then sometimes it didn't. I'm not a big fan of FISBOs.
Okay. And we just don't really see a lot of them here on Maui. I've done a couple, and it was always because it's because I had a client that was interested in the property. The property was advertised in the Maui News, so if you're looking for FISBOs, that's where you can go look. And in one case, I had done a postcard to Papakea, which is a condo complex, and there was a guy there that was doing it for sale by owner. So he called me to see if I would come look at his property in case I had a buyer. So I went to see it, and I actually brought a buyer with me. We walked through it. He wasn't interested in the property. But about 45 days later, the FISBO called me and he said, I haven't been able to sell my property. Would you be interested in listing it for me? I said, maybe. And so they sold that and they bought another house. So if you go in, you've got a buyer, they're looking to see if they want to cooperate. Some of them are just locked in, they don't want to pay a fee. Some of them just think they can do it themselves and then find out they can't do it themselves.
Some don't think that there's such a thing as carrying costs. I try to explain it to them and say, it's, every month you don't sell this, what does it cost me?
That's right. Sometimes you have to do the math for them. Expired and withdrawn listings. So some folks have made their living on expired listings, withdrawn listings. And Bob's laughing. Why are you laughing?
Because that's true, they have made their living on that.
Yeah.
One of the things you want to do is you want to be careful with expired and withdrawn listings if it's a listing that somebody in your brokerage had. Because they might be taking it off for a period of time, for 30 days to reset the clock on the Maui MLS. And you might be injecting yourself in a situation where this person still has this listing and is going to list it again in 30 days. You don't know. So in other words, the general rule of thumb with expireds and that is withdrawn is if it's in your brokerage that had the listing, call that agent up. Say, is that dead or what's going on with that? Can I take a swipe at it, et cetera, et cetera. And you'll find out. Go right ahead, be my guest. Or, no, this guy's going to withdraw it for a while and he's going to relist with me in 30 days. Now, if it's another brokerage, jump all over it. Coldwell Banker, whoever. Better Homes and Gardens, absolutely call them up. Don't hesitate.
Okay. And on page 29, under the 3 common reasons for sale, number 1, when you call, confirm that the listing has expired. Okay? Make sure you confirm that. Soliciting business from a listed property is a violation of the NAR Code of Ethics. You cannot poach an active listing. Okay? And to Bob's point, I would advise that if it's Keller Williams' agent whose listing expired, touch bases with that agent before you take any action. We've had some folks that were doing cold calling on expired listings, and they called and the seller said, yeah, it expired, but I'm gonna relist with my broker. That is your broker as well. And the person said, yeah, but I wanna talk to you about listing your property. And so that didn't go over well with the broker because the seller didn't call the broker, who then called the agent that was trying to get in the door.
And it's not your listing, it's the brokerage's listing.
Good point. It's a good point. All right. Open houses. This is my favorite. Okay. Go to my notes here. Okay. First thing with an open house is if you have a listing, you can probably hold open house there, right? If it is a condotel and it's occupied, it's gonna be a little more challenging because you can only be doing open house between guests when it's not occupied. So when I started, the first challenge was finding an open house. Okay, so how can you find a place to go hold open house? Connor earlier said always be networking. So to me, at every meeting that I went to, that was a real estate meeting for a brokerage, I would ask people, hey, I'm looking for a place to hold open house. Do you have any places? So the first thing is when you're going to meetings like this, you want to hold open house, ask if anybody's got a place where you can hold open house, right? Because there are a lot of people who don't like to do open house, but their sellers would like them to do open house, and they would love it if you would go and hold open house at those places. So first thing, ask around. Next thing here would be talk to the teams. So if you're up on the west side, talk to us. You can go look up my listings, Lee Potts, and any listing that you see in the realtor's remarks, it will say call Tony Brown. So Tony's our listing manager. Call him. He keeps a schedule of everything that's open, who's holding open house, what time they're doing it, and what else is available. So on the west side, Tony, down here, you've got Randy Antonio has open houses, 808 team has open house opportunities, Edie Peterson probably has open house opportunities. So call those folks because they might have something available for you. And then in Paragon, you can go in, you can click on active listings, and then go down and insert under brokerage, Keller Williams Realty Maui. It'll pull up a list of every listing that we have that you're a listing agent with. And you might look on there and think, oh, I'd like to hold open house at that property. And you call that agent and ask if they've got something available for you. And the last thing, and what I did when I started out, was I would drive up and down Lower Honaupiki Road and look for people that had open house signs out. And then I would go in and talk to the agent that had the open house sign out and find out if there were days when he or she was not going to be holding open house there that would allow me to do it. And I also bumped into people there who really didn't want to be doing open house. They just said, yeah, you can go here. You can sit here every day. Okay, so first step is find an open house, right? You can write any of this down if you want to. Second thing is prepare. And so this is an open house checklist. I don't know if I've got enough.
So it has to be the same group here?
I'll take a picture of it.
To me, it should be Keller Williams. Yeah. I was gonna say lower down, I would think to see like.
You got it? Have a seat. Who's in over here?
They-
Anybody else need a form? Everybody got one?
You have an extra? I'll take one.
Oh,
I gave him one. Thank you.
So this list was developed by me going to do open house, and there was stuff I needed that I didn't have, right? And so this list, what? Windex, okay? We've got a glass top coffee table or a glass top dining table, and you're gonna set that during the day. okay? There are things on there like a 10-pound dumbbell weight.
For your
Okay?
sign.
Hold the sign down where it's windy. Yep. Right? That's why there are bungee cords on it. Toilet paper, hammer, arrows. Go through the list, and if you need to add something else to it, please let me know and I'll update the list. And there are some duplicates on that list. So I have a box, it's about this big, plastic box. I keep all my stuff in the box. And so when I go do open house, which I don't do that much anymore, I just grab the box and I'm ready to go, right? I don't have to assemble scissors and pens and business cards, all that stuff. It's all in one place, it's ready to go. And if you're doing open house consistently, every day, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever you have the appetite for, however big your why is, it's good to have everything in a box ready to rock and roll. Okay, so get your checklist done.
They'll take your water bottle. You use that as a weight.
Take it, okay.
They've taken it. I was
They've
like,
taken
man,
it.
that bottle must have been thirsty or something.
Yeah, so the ones that are like the A-frames, you do the bungees and the 10-pound weight. For the ones that are like the tents that have the sign that goes back and forth, people take little sandbags. Seen that? Seen people try to put rocks on them, and rocks fall off and the sign blows away.
I had to go take my slippers once. And it was at an expensive property.
That's old
Property
school
was-
Hawaii, the
property was
upgrade, you know?
1.5 million, and I went outside and we're a size 13 Olukai.
That's
Yeah.
why you
That's
took them.
exactly-
That's the commercial.
Yeah, but there were
This
size
is where-
10 rubber ones from Long's. That were like
Oh,
$5.
they left.
And I thought, dude, couldn't you feel when you put them on that they might be a little bit big for you? No, he stole my shoes.
You saw Olukai.
Yeah.
Took them. All right, so you got your checklist, so you're ready to go. And then you want to let people know that you're gonna do an open house. So you need to do some marketing. So what are 5 things you could do to market that open house?
Door knocking, social media.
Door knocking, okay. We'll do one at a time.
Post it on the MLS that you're doing an open house at that place.
What if you're not the listing agent?
Doesn't matter.
So a listing agent has to post
Listing
things
has
open
to
houses.
post
Yeah.
it.
So tell the listing agent to put it in the MLS.
That it's an open house.
And what else does that do for you? It syndicates it, right?
Yep.
So it goes to Zillow, Trulia. So I've had people walk in, oh, how'd you know about the open house? Oh, I saw it on Zillow. Okay, right? Agents will go in and search the MLS for open houses.
Yep.
Because I've got somebody in town who wants to see property and I can't find anything to show. Oh, there's an open house, we'll go see that. Okay? Social media, Marcus said social media. Somebody else is talking about social media. John was talking about social media. So what do you do? What do you do to post it on social media?
Now we have.
Come on, this is not this hard.
We have the campaigns in command, we can make up flyers and, postings and stuff like that for
You
social media.
You can post it through command. Okay, we'll talk about social media more in a little bit. Can you post it on your personal Facebook page? Sure. I do.
Tell the seller to post it on theirs.
Tell the seller to post it on theirs. What a smart idea that is, right? Tell your grandmother to post it on hers, right?
Spread the word.
Post it and tell people to share it. Okay. Fine.
Make sure you talk to the next door neighbors, because you can phrase it this way. You have an opportunity to pick who your next door neighbor is. So if you've got somebody that you'd love to have living next to you, a good friend or whatever, I'm having an open house on Thursday at 3 in the morning.
Well, and you were kind of walking the neighborhood, hey, I'm having an open house.
Yeah.
Call it Nosy Neighbor Open House.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
come on down, we got cookies. Okay. What else can you do to market this open house?
If it's in a condo, you could post a flyer and, like on a cork board or something like that.
Okay,
Ask first, though. Ask the association first.
great, that's good. What would be better than that at a condo association?
Signage,
We're gonna have signage. Okay, what kind of signs you gonna have?
open house,
Okay, where are you gonna put them?
on the main streets leading to it, street corners, and in front of the building or home.
Okay. put the unit number on there, and then I take the little state open house signs from by Ace Hardware, because in complexes, they get complex, you get lost walking around in there, so put them around in there. But going back to the flyer, what else can you do with flyers? John, were you gonna answer that?
Well, I took your class, so I know you like to give it to the front desk and let them know as well that, hey, I'm doing this open house, here's maybe something of value for you, some chocolate or whatnot, and then people come asking for them and they're not rude about it, and they're cool, and they wanna help because, they wanna help you because you're a cool guy.
And they don't wanna talk about real estate at the front desk.
Right.
They don't know what's for sale. Take this, go talk to John.
He's that way.
That's, yeah. And they become very loyal if you give them flyers to hand out. Plus, they'll hand out your flyers when you're not there. So what's for sale here? Oh, this guy was doing an open house, here's a flyer for the property that's for sale. Okay? What else? Okay, so we got social media, we've got it posted. I like to do an email blast to Realtors Association, let all the realtors know that we're doing an open house. And I like to do an email blast to my whole database to let them know that I'm doing an open house. And people in Chicago will email you and say, I'd really love to come to that open house. It's snowing here, and I'll come to the next one, right?
And now that's another touch
That's another touch.
that you did there, huh?
That's right. So you get a little warm, and fuzzy going on there. It's cold in Chi-Town. All right, so you're gonna get people coming to the open house during the open house. First thing I would do is put an open house sign on the front door. Okay, open house, come in.
Come in.
Right. In the summertime, you've got the door closed, the AC is going. You need to let them know to come in. If it's a condominium complex and you have the door open and there's a screen door, they can't see the number on the door. So you need to put a sign so they know which place to come into. Sign on the door is very important. Yes?
Because I've seen various open houses and like on those other signs is you guiding, just putting the number of the house and apartment complex there. I actually went to one the other day and it was all the other stuff, there was nothing around the actual house. So I was following the signs and at first I was just following the sign of the house arrow and I didn't look at the actual number. And then I walked into the complex, so it's like, okay, where is it? And
Where
I
is it?
go back, track to look at that number though, but it was beneficial to reason.
Bob?
That's because a lot of condo complexes will not let you put those directional signs around, because it clutters up everything. I said, open house 6 days a week for 8 years. One of the best things you could do, if I could impart something to you, is go make friends at the front desk. Ask them what the rules are, because very few realtors ask what the rules are. They just assume that they can put a sign any damn place, and that's what pisses them off. And then you're on their naughty list. Okay, if you go in and you ask them, look, I'm brand new and I want to put my signs up here and I don't want to break any rules because I want to have a good relationship with you. They'll say, oh my God, let me in, you're great. And they'll help you.
Yeah. So Papa K is a complex like that, where if you give them info at the front desk, people will walk in. It's a place where it's really easy to get lost. And I've had security bring people, right? Other places, I don't know, I can put signs anywhere I want to. It's also a very confusing place, and so the arrows are really good. And the thing that you just mentioned is what happens to, I think, 90%. See the open house sign, it's F401. By the time you get in the complex, it's like, honey, what unit number was that? Right? So it's another reason to have a sign on the door.
For example, you cannot have any open house signs anywhere in White Lake. Anywhere. Can't do it.
Right, and so at the open house class,
Do it.
which is next week on the 20th, we'll talk about what to do at all of those places. So that's about a 2-hour, and we'll take a deeper dive there.
Interesting you said that because a couple days ago when I was going around, I saw a bunch of open houses and all that. Just right out, I didn't actually follow a couple, but right out by the main road, there's an open house here.
Well, it's interesting, like Kilohana Drive, you can have signs on this side of Kilohana Drive saying this way, but if you put it over on this side of they'll come and take your sign.
Yeah.
You gotta have it on this side.
Maybe that's what
That's why you see signs down on the corner of Kilohana Drive and South Key Road advertising for a place, Wailea Kolu, and you go, this is nowhere near Wailea Kolu, that's because you can't have a sign.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that stuff, and maybe you guys can come, especially you, Bob, and help us out with the south side. During the open house, and I always think twice about going through this, because I wonder why we need to talk about it, but when people come to the door and come in, you should greet them, okay? I tell a story of clients that I had that came into an open house, talked to them, got their contact information, just did what I thought people should do. And at the end of the conversation, one said, "You're gonna be our realtor." And I said, "Oh, great, why is that?" She said, "We've been doing open houses from Wailea to Kapalua. You're the very first one that asked us for our contact information. The first one." So when somebody comes in, you wanna greet them. "Welcome to the open house. Thank you for coming." Does that sound okay? Right? "Welcome to the open house. Thank you for coming." Not "welcome to my open house." Welcome to the open house. Next thing you want to do is connect with them. "Oh, that is a really cool shirt. Is that a shark on that shirt?"
I don't know, I just bought it yesterday.
"Wow, that's cool. What does that do?"
Drops their barriers.
Creates a little bit of a connection. Okay? "Oh, that's a beautiful red blouse that you have on." Do people like that?